Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I'm your disheveled goblin host, Daniel Greene, and today I'm going to let you know that the reason I start these so high energy is so that I can go ahead and just keep that momentum through the rest of the videos, because you kind of have to get yourself amped up to keep the fantasy news at the rate it needs to be. I love doing it, but you just gotta have to be in that mindset of like, let's just go! And with that being said, let's just go ahead and jump on into the news. Starting with the rather quick update that Brandon Sanderson has tweeted out that he is finished with the 4th Stormlight Archive book. The final revisions have been turned in, and it's good to go. He tweeted that along with posting to Reddit a final Stormlight Archive book 4 update. He kind of does these for all of his major releases. He just has like these continual updates to keep his audience informed, which I still really love. Like, that's just incredible for an author to let us in that much. That's a lot of pressure to let your audience in that much, and it's a great update. I won't cover any specifics here because I know not everyone's caught up in the Stormlight Archive, but it's damn interesting to see into the insights of creating this story. Go ahead and check that out in the links down below if you'd like to, and let's go ahead and jump on into the rest of this dim fantasy news. And in a quickie last minute news update, hence the new shirt, we have the title reveal of a new Stormlight Archive novella that is a part of the Brandon Sanderson Kickstarter, it seems, titled Dawn Shard. It'll apparently follow a merchant we've been seeing in some little shorts within the Stormlight Archive itself. Very excited for that. Badass. And there will be more information on Thursday. The Folio Society, one of the biggest, baddest companies when it comes to special edition books, have released what their covers and books are going to look like for Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and oh my lord, that's pretty. That is a pretty book. It's expensive. I'm not going to buy it because it's expensive, but And Patrick Rothfuss will reportedly be live streaming every single day this week to help raise awareness for the World Builders mid-season fundraiser. Very cool of Patrick Rothfuss to do that. And he also today for me as I'm recording this, sat down and talked with Jim Butcher yet again to discuss Peace Talks, which is oh so fun. The final Terry Pratchett stories to be published will be coming out this September. I'm, of course, very excited to see these. Every time this happens, though, with a posthumous release for an author, there's a bit of a discussion of whether or not it should be happening. But I did read in this article that some of these stories from Terry Pratchett actually have been seen in some way, shape, or form before, and this is more just kind of putting a lot of his lesser-known stuff together, as well as some previously unreleased stuff. Apparently, this will include all kinds of alternative Terry Pratchett zany stories, like a steam-powered rocket ship to Mars. Very much so looking forward to it. And let me know what you think of this kind of update to Terry Pratchett and potential legacy in the comments down below. I'm always a bit skeptical in any form of medium with a after-death release from any artist or creator. I would be lying if I was going to say I'm not excited to have more Terry Pratchett available for me to consume. Like, I haven't read a book from the guy that I didn't enjoy. All of Discworld that I read was a good time. And a fun little insight into my family, my dad kept telling me he'd read Discworld because he mistakes it for Ringworld, the sci-fi book. Those are two different things, and Dad, you should read Discworld. It's very good, and I think you'd find it really funny. Now, I can't believe I'm going to say this. It pains me. It's a little bit hurtful, but Goodreads put out something you should check out, and that's 2 lists of the top 100 sci-fi and fantasy books of all time, according to a mixture of user reviews, number of reviews, and overall rating. And yeah, it's definitely worth a look-see to see what's been so popular on the largest, fan book review website available. The biggest pushback I've seen is that this shouldn't be 2 separate lists of 100 fantasy, 100 sci-fi, but that they should be one because one is a subgenre of the other. And I could see that argument, but that's kind of nitpicking here. It's a quality list and it's worth checking out. I would just take a different approach to when it comes out to giving Goodreads awards every year, Take the highest reviewed, not the most reviewed, and don't let random fans vote who have never read the books, because that's how you get Cursed Child winning one year Goodreads. But that's just my 2 cents there. I'm not gonna keep layering on the hate. Good lists, worth checking out. I'll have them linked down below if you'd like to see the most popular of these genre for Goodreads. It's pretty neat. I also just realized for some reason I had Hobbit ranked at 4 stars, not 5. I think that's a misclick that I just never caught. 5 stars for Hobbit, corrected on my Goodreads. That's the first Goodread updates I've done in probably a year, because I don't use the website anymore. Now, if you're excited for the upcoming To Sleep in a Sea of Stars from Christopher Paolini, I wasn't going to cover this till I actually saw how amazing the prizes are you'd win. They have a sweepstakes to give away a signed copy hardback of the upcoming sci-fi book from the author, as well as a bunch of merch, and usually this merch is like, whatever. But this includes a NASA-style poster for the fictional or some fictional planet going on in this world, as well as a fleece blanket. I really like blankets. Blankets, I have like so many blankets on my couch. Fleece blankets are my favorite. I really want this blanket. Can we just make it available to buy? I would buy that. I don't want it to be a maybe I have to enter sweepstakes. I just want the blanket. So fleece blankets are the best thing ever. I just want it. I don't even know why I specifically want this one so much, but now I want this fleece blanket really bad. And in some cool paperback news, because I know a lot of people don't love hardbacks, and I have a video on that topic right there, we are getting the paperback release for the Dragon Republic, the second book of the Poppy War series, as well as Gideon the Ninth, which according to this tweet will have 15 pages of never before seen content. So fans out there who have the hardback, guess what you gotta do? Maybe ask someone who has the paperback to give you a look at their additional 15 pages. You don't necessarily need to spend all the money. Unless you like collecting like myself, in that case, you know, go right ahead on and do it. Why do you feel about the colored-in versions of the Poppy War versus the original just kind of white with the art on it cover? Because I am a bit conflicted. I like how much more these pop, but I think overall I enjoy the original kind of white art with minimal cover for the Poppy War series. I don't know, just a thought. Which one I prefer. Now, in a headline that really caught my interest here, and I really wanted to talk about the potential implications of, apparently the comic book industry, which is lumping in sales of graphic novels as well for this, had the highest sales ever at $1.21 billion. And this article is attributing that largely to the rise in popularity of the graphic novel medium. That's really fascinating to me, and I hope, in my disheveled goblin opinion, that this could lead to more adaptations being released in the graphic novel format. Very selfishly, not because I want to like read them in detail if they're books I've already seen. I just love seeing the art of graphic novels when it comes to fantasy adaptations. Like a Mistborn graphic novel, I'm 100% down for. Continuing the Wheel of Time graphic novels, yes please. Things along those lines, I just love seeing an artist's rendition of bringing these worlds to life and giving us a new look, a new idea of what could be. So, I don't know, I really like this headline, not necessarily because of like Marvel, DC, but just due to the fact that this medium is something I enjoy from an artistic standpoint. I have bought whole graphic novel series just because I love the art style and don't necessarily even like the story happening within them. I'm not connected enough to the community to know if that's like a normal thing, but it's what I do a lot of the time. Now, in a headline that has caused quite a few comments, Will Poulter actually kind of confirmed why he had to step out from the Lord of the Rings TV show, and it was scheduling conflicts, which is very often the thing that leads to actors dropping out in Hollywood. But this is just kind of the latest in a lot of headlines that have been fairly negative about the production of Lord of the Rings show, and it's resulted in me fairly consistently over the last couple of weeks seeing like, oh, they're dropping the ball on this so hard, like people just kind of saying like the Lord of the Rings show looks like it's going to be bad. And I want to push back on that a little bit. I'm not saying it's guaranteed going to be good, but as someone who looks into the production of large projects a lot, it's not uncommon for especially productions of this size to hit bumps in the road, a lot of them. Even if they are firing certain people involved with a creative vision, you don't know who exactly is promoting what and what actually would work better for the, story they're going for. So I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm just saying I'm not going to weigh in one way or another until I watch the finished product. Simple premise and idea, I know, but it's just something that I've had people say like, what do you think about this? And my thought is, I don't know. Like if we knew everything going on behind the scenes for The Shining movie while it was being made, probably a lot of people who love Stephen King's The Shining would be rather upset to hear that like Stephen King didn't like creative choices going on and stuff like that. But the end result was one of the greatest horror movies of all time. And I'm not saying that The Lord of the Rings show is going to be one of the greatest shows of all time. I'm just proving the point that just because a project has conflict or bumps in the road behind the scene doesn't mean it's going to end up being bad. Several projects that have had horrific productions have ended up in the top 100 films of all time according to like AFI, or been in the top 100 shows according to like, I don't know, IMDb. That's just kind of what I'm getting at here. So I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, I'm saying I'm a wait and see. Neil Gaiman himself sat down with EW to discuss the upcoming audio drama adaptation of The Sandman, and I'm just hyped to see the level of marketing behind this thing. We've mentioned it here multiple times because they're really pushing for this, and with the big names behind it like Kat Dennings, James McAvoy, Andy Serkis, and Neil Gaiman himself, you can tell why they're pushing so hard. This must have had a pretty high budget, and I'm very open for this being the one that converts me over to being big cast, liking of a audio drama. I don't normally like them, but hey, I'm open to be interested in this one. I'm covering it again just really to let you know that Neil Gaiman sat down to do this, and I think it was a pretty great interview. He also kind of just pointed out the difference between audio dramas and graphic novels. He's like, the one's words, one's pictures, which, yeah, Neil, that's the difference. Kidding, it's funny. My sense of humor is trash, and I just sound that funny. I don't know why. Ignore me. Moving on. We had an announcement from Disney Star Wars, where we are going to get a new animated TV series called The Bad Batch. For those of you who have watched the Clone Wars show, you know exactly what this is lining up with. There is a group of clones called the Bad Batch who are a bit alternative because they didn't turn out like the rest of the clones, and it's going to follow their journey post Order 66, and we'll get the clone perspective of what exactly happened according to Disney's canon for the Star Wars universe in this time. And I'm pretty interested in that. I liked the Clone Wars show a good bit and have no issues with them fleshing it out a little bit more here. I didn't love the Bad Batch in those last few episodes of the Clone War, and it makes more sense why they made an appearance now that they were setting up this spin-off show. But I'm not against this in any way, shape, or form, and, hey, Disney's shown that their Star Wars TV shows can be pretty good, so yeah, let's see what they're going to bring to the table here. I will note, on a personal just side thing, my dyslexic ass read this as the Bad like 3 times in a row, and it wasn't until like finally someone else typed it out, not in this font, that my brain processed it right as The Bad Batch. And now I really want a Star Wars show called The Bad Batch that follows, I don't know, some badass female protagonist as she just cleans up Ahsoka. I don't know. Can we just get something like that that's just got a Tarantino vibe all the way through? Now I want that. Thank you, dyslexia. You gave me something to want that will never exist. Oh, and apparently I wasn't the only one who read it as that, because there's a tweet that agrees with me, so I'm not alone that it, for some reason, just reads like that. And then in the final fantasy news story of the day, we are going to discuss the trailer that dropped for the upcoming Star Trek Lower Decks show. And what I will say is this trailer has this still image in it, and some, like, smelly farty jokes and stuff. It's kind of exactly what I didn't want to see for a show like this. Lines like, we live on spaceships, there's no way we're gonna let someone die from like a spear wound or something like that. It's okay. I'm okay with it still, and I'm still going to watch the first episode with a high expectation and an open mind to really enjoy it, and just not view it as I view Star Trek, and instead just view it as a fun new kids show that hopefully has some interesting education around scientific concepts woven into the story that just happened to not be included in the trailer, because it'd be difficult to include stuff like that in the trailer. And I hope that the jokes around, like, Klingon smell are reduced. But hey, that's just my thoughts there. I'm still going to keep an open mind, and that is your last story from today's fantasy news. But I will just want to add this on the end here, that I'm going to be approaching fantasy news, if you didn't already notice how fewer stories were covered here, by just having a more minimal approach. That way I can go a little bit deeper. Like, I was able to give more opinions on more stuff here, just include some quickie news stuff like I did with the paperbacks. But just fantasy news over the last couple of months is really bloated out to having so many stories, so I really wanted to cover everything for all different fan bases, but it's just impossible to do that and maintain the level of quality I really want. So we're going to be reducing the number of stories. I'm going to try to keep it around 10 instead of like the 20 it was often approaching, so I can be more thorough, and then we'll just have a quickie, here are some paperback news, stuff like that going on. And I hope you guys don't mind. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you like to support what I do here. Join the Discord server and post any stories you'd like to see me cover in the future in the Fantasy News channel. And have a great one, y'all. Peace! And of course, I'd like to record a special shout out to my latest high tier Patreons, Adam Richmond, AK, and Leighton White upped their pledge. Thank you so much, and I hope y'all are killing it today.